So, in February, it was a big snowstorm that hit New York City. And it was freezing outside. And of course, I had no heat and hot water. So, I basically improvised. I opened up my oven again and exposed myself to some really dangerous situations. My gas bill went up really high, and I took showers at the gym or my friend's apartment. But, I still called the city. I said, hey, we need someone to come out here and fix this. But the city's kind of sluggish. Didn't work. Eventually I wrote a few letters. I ended up making a connection with someone at the Housing Preservation and Development. This guy was really cool, and he ended up calling up an oil service, and they drove a truck out and they fixed us. We were good. That went on for like a little bit, over the summer. I mean, you don't need the heat, but you do need the hot water. Still no hot water. Very inconsistent. Have you ever just woken up in the morning and you wanted to take that hot shower before work and you can't? But what if you did that on like a 5-day basis, like it happened 5 days in a row? Well, the summer was one thing, but then this year, this October 21st, I didn't have it. And you know what? I had an inspector here, and he saw I didn't have it. He put his little thermometer in the water and realized it was too cold. Boom, violation. Our slumlord has been violated. He had at least 10 days to fix it. I tried to call him. He didn't answer his phone. He had, all this stuff going on, and I guess he was too busy to answer his tenants, because everybody in the building called, he still didn't answer. More inspectors came a week later. They realized we didn't have sufficient amount of hot water either. And then they even realized that it was too cold in the apartment. They had little, thermometers for the hall, and it was really high tech. And basically, we still didn't have it. This went on for 25 days. 25 days. I called the city. I called everybody. I had, HPD, Department of Buildings, New York City. I went to courts. You know what I ended up doing? I went so far as to track down where these landlords live, and I went to their houses personally. And I met, the landlord himself. I met his wife, and I spoke to her, and I told her the plight of our situation. She said, that's terrible. She said, I couldn't live with that. She said, I will speak to my husband immediately. And then after speaking to her husband, a few more days went by where we had no heat and hot water, and they decided to buy a new boiler. Hallelujah, new boiler. Sounds great, right? Well, they have the new boiler, and they had it brought in, and they got some bums off the street. I don't know who these guys were. I mean, it's like they picked them up at Hoodlums R Us. And they basically tried to install it. Well, the good old hoodlums that they cut costs on broke the new boiler. Yeah, they broke it. I have pictures. You're going to have to check the blog, and you'll see the pictures. It's damaged. So now we have a damaged new boiler. We have Thug Life downstairs who's threatening to knock us out if we ask too many questions. And we have landlords that don't answer. So once again, you're told to call 311. That's the New York City state of mind. Oh, if you have a problem, call 311. They'll help you. Yeah, right. They helped. They helped take a number. I was at a bagel shop. I took a number. As many numbers as I could have. And basically, that didn't do squat. Because they sent more inspectors, wrote more violations, but that didn't prompt enough, action. So finally, after calling, and I badgered these people, finally they decided to get real people to install it. And they installed it. But I had to go to court. I had to go to court and try to get an HP action against them to get the city in there to finally do the job right. And on the court date, when I wanted to tell a judge with these two people beside me that they had done me wrong, these two guys decided not to show up. Did they get a penalty? No. Did they get in trouble? No. Did anything happen? No. I just look like a schmuck because I basically paid $45 to file a claim. I paid I paid like another $45 to $50 to send out the court summons for them to come, but they didn't feel like they had to. And the judge dismissed the case because they weren't there. And during the whole procedure of trying to get them into court, they managed to get the good guys to fix it in time. But there's still problems. Like another health inspector came and he said that there's a problem with a valve, that if it's plugged, the whole thing could blow up. This is ridiculous. So what I'm asking you, I'm out of ideas. What would you do if your landlord ignored you? If the city you lived in didn't help you, and the courts you went to were all about your landlord and not you? Do you know in the County of Kings, Brooklyn, housing court, there are 15 windows for landlords suing tenants. Do you know how many windows there are for tenants suing landlords? What? So my friends, I ask you, I am desperate for ideas. What would you do to get your landlord to give you heat and hot water? And you know what? If you find a really good idea, I would love for you to tell that idea to my landlord. I would love for you to give him your ideas. That is Living with a Slumlord, Chapter 1.